All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into the world of Nona Moysu.
Nona Moysu.
Yeah, a writer our listener wants to put, on everyone's radar.
Okay.
And we've got excerpts from Corn Leaves,
Mm-hmm.
which seems to be like a mix of poetry and short stories.
Yeah, and even just from these snippets, you can really see why our listener was so captivated by her work.
Yeah.
There's this really interesting mix of humor and those like everyday situations we find ourselves in,
Right.
but then also like these sparks of deeper meaning.
Exactly. Like take the title poem, Corn Leaves.
Okay.
It starts with this almost comical image of a corn stalk,
Okay.
grappling with the big questions.
Yeah.
Which way should I grow? Left, right, up, down?
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't think a corn stalk could have an existential crisis, but
That's true.
Moysu makes it work somehow.
And that's, I think, what's so fascinating about her work
Yeah.
is she takes that like unexpected perspective,
Yeah.
the cornstalk's dilemma,
Right.
to touch on something that is actually like very universal,
Yeah.
which is that feeling of being unsure of which path to take in life.
Totally. It's so true.
Yeah.
And it's not just corn getting the philosophical treatment here.
Yeah.
We also have these snippets of parent-child conversations
Hmm.
that are so spot on.
Oh, yeah.
They're almost painful.
Painfully funny, you mean?
Exactly. Painfully funny, yes.
Yep.
Like, in my candy, the back and forth about who gets the last piece,
Uh-huh.
I swear I have lived that exact scenario.
Oh, totally.
Like, Moysu captures that dynamic so perfectly.
Yeah, it's that authenticity, though.
Like, she has this ability to capture the nuances of these, like, everyday interactions.
Right.
And I think that's something that resonates so strongly with readers.
Totally.
Like, you feel like you're right there in the room,
yeah.
experiencing those little dramas alongside the characters.
Yes. And it's not just the situations themselves. It's the way she uses dialogue.
Yeah.
Like in Surprise Gifts, when the dad corrects the kid's grammar mid-meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
Classic dad move, am I right?
Classic.
Like, so good.
It is. And it's also like the subtle, like, it highlights how values and lessons are passed down.
Yes.
Even unintentionally within families, which I think is really interesting.
Okay, so we've got existential corn. We've got these relatable family moments.
What else can you tell us about Nona Moysu based on what we've seen in these excerpts?
Well, one thing that really shines through is her range. The excerpt our listener pulled from Sinking Phone is hilarious.
Right.
But it also, like, reveals a lot about how kids interpret the world around them.
Oh, absolutely.
Literally.
The kid sees a speck on the phone and hears adults talking about filth, and next thing you know, it's taken a bubble bath.
Exactly. And it's like,
Poor fuck.
it's such a simple premise.
Yeah.
But she uses it to explore those like funny disconnects between adult logic
Right.
and a child's way of seeing things.
Totally.
And I mean, the dad's reaction.
Oh my gosh.
No, my phone is ruined.
So good.
It's priceless.
Yeah.
Like, it's that perfect blend of like parental exasperation.
Yes.
And disbelief that anyone could miss the concept of spotless.
Right.
Quite so spectacular.
It's so true.
I mean, yeah, this seems to be like a running theme with her work.
Okay.
Like finding the humor in those like mundane everyday moments that I think we all experience, but like rarely pause to really examine.
Totally.
Like, who else would think to set a philosophical debate about free will
Right.
against the backdrop of like a parent-child argument over a report card?
Exactly. It's so unexpected, and yet it totally works.
It works.
You're laughing one minute, and then you're hit with these like bigger questions about choice and consequence.
Yeah, and it's almost like she's prompting you to have those aha moments
Yeah.
that we might like have in the shower or something. But like she's woven them into these like incredibly relatable scenarios.
Yes. I love that.
It makes you
You find yourself nodding along being like, yep, been there.
right.
Thought something similar while scrubbing in the grout.
Exactly.
It's so true.
And it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
like, what else is hidden within the pages of Corn Leaves?
Right.
What other like everyday wonders has she like brought to life?
Okay, so our listener gave us a taste,
Yeah.
and now I'm like craving the whole meal.
Yeah.
I need to read the rest of this book.
Right.
And, speaking of these like hidden gems,
Mm-hmm.
our listener also mentioned that while Corn Leaves seems to be like their favorite,
Okay.
Nona Moysu has actually written across a whole range of genres,
Oh, wow.
which, knowing how diverse her themes are just in these excerpts,
I know, right.
is like incredibly exciting.
That is exciting.
There's a real depth and variety here that makes me think she really must have something for everyone.
Totally. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, so for our listener who's already a fan, keep exploring.
Yeah.
And for anyone new to Nona Moysu,
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for a writer who can make you laugh and think
Yeah,
and see the world in like a new light,
absolutely.
it seems like you have found your new favorite author.
100%.
But the question is like, what will resonate most with you?
Right.
What's the takeaway from this deep dive into Moysu's world?
I think the biggest takeaway, honestly, is that reminder she gives us
Mm-hmm.
that there's magic in the mundane.
Yeah.
Like Moysu shows us that even the most like ordinary moments,
Right,
those
yeah.
little snippets of conversation, those like everyday dilemmas we find ourselves in
Right.
can hold like surprising depth and humor
Totally.
if we just take the time to really look at them.
It's so easy to just like rush through life without even like
It's right.
appreciating those little details.
Exactly.
But like Moysu's work makes you want to slow down
Yes.
and pay attention and maybe even like
I know.
start a philosophical debate with a stalk of corn.
Right. Exactly. And like,
Yeah.
who knows? You might be surprised at what insights you uncover,
Oh,
by doing that.
yeah.
And remember that feeling we talked about earlier of like
Yeah.
being at a crossroads
Yeah.
and feeling unsure of which path to take?
Mm-hmm.
Like Moysu's work kind of reminds us that
Mhm.
sometimes those like most unexpected detours can actually lead to the most like rewarding destinations,
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's like maybe those wrong turns aren't so wrong after all.
So true.
Yeah.
So to our listener who sent us down this rabbit hole
Yes.
of existential corn and like surprisingly profound parent-child banter,
Thank you.
thank you for introducing us to her work.
We love when you send in these recommendations.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Yes. And to everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
if you are ready for a literary adventure that will make you laugh and think,
Yeah.
and maybe even like re-examine that dust bunny in the corner,
That you've been meaning to clean up.
pick up a copy of Corn Leaves
Yes.
and see where Nona Moysu takes you.
Absolutely.
That is it for today's deep dive.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.